So the Winnipeg Jets do what they have to do, which is beat the Vegas Golden Knights, who are in the wild card spot currently. Right now, we're really chasing two teams. We're chasing Dallas and we're chasing Vegas. And great news, Jets fans, the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Dallas Stars, so that gives us a little bit of help. We're going to cover the Jets' playoff chances, what the Jets should be doing come the trade deadline. We're going to talk about Andrew Copp's injury, and we're going to talk about this bonkers and bananas game between the Jets and the Golden Knights, because oh boy, was it a wild one. So let's get after it. And don't forget, Jets fans, this channel is brought to you by BetUS. Head over to betus.com. I use it myself. Allows you to bet on hockey. You can even bet on the Stanley Cup winner. And new accounts of my viewers over here at Hot Garbage Sports get 125% first-time deposit bonus. So head over to BetUS, smash a bet on your Stanley Cup favorite right now and get 125% deposit bonus for free plays and free bets. Just make sure you're over the age of majority in your state or province. Let's start with the good stuff, this bananas game. And it was bananas because Gong Show doesn't even go ahead and describe this game. The normal hockey adage of a Gong Show, it would play in this. The definition does hold, but this has to be something totally different. I mean, night in and night out, random things happen in the NHL. It's why we watch the game, but let me tell you, when we break down the statistics from this game, you're going to be like, I can't believe that just happened. But I'm going to give you one really key reason why, and that is Laurent Brossoit. Now, Brossoit is not a bad goalie, and Vegas, you never should have gotten rid of Fleury. I've been saying that all summer. I'm in tune with all the Vegas Golden Knights and all the team's social media groups, and the crap that I saw about, oh, Fleury can go, Lehner's our starter. There was a lot of Fleury lovers too, but I mean, what Pierre Dorian did and this team with Fleury was just ridiculous. It's like when the Habs said the team wasn't Price, look where we're at. It's like when the Knights say, oh, we can do it without Fleury, look where you're at. Don't give up elite goalies. So Jets fans, learn from these two franchises. Stop cheering for Connor Hellebuck to go away. It doesn't work. I mean, we could point to Marc-Andre Fleury 2 times. First with Pittsburgh, then with Vegas. Goalies carry franchises. So when you got an elite one, don't let him go. But Brossoit, back to him. What makes Brossoit so unique in this situation is because he was the Jets' backup. For those of you that don't know this, the backup takes more shots in practice than the starter, and the backup is the one that has to play through optional skates and those types of things. So the Jets don't go out there. They're always giving Connor Hellebuck a rest. Like when we talk about rest, he's not playing in practice the way Brossoit does, but the boys still need goalies to shoot on it. It's not like they just call in the Manitoba Moose goalies to shell. They got to work with the backup. So most of Brossoit's work actually comes in practice, and it's in practice where you learn how to beat goalies. And I believe it's because of all those years of practicing against the Jets that the Jets were able to just bury goals on him tonight. I mean, you know his weaknesses, you know where to shoot, you know how to exploit it. And Brossoit's been actually pretty good for Vegas. I mean, he's a high-end backup. He's still a high-end backup. He's not a starter, but he's stepped in reasonably well for Robin Lehner, who's out with shoulder surgery. Look, they need Lehner back, but when you take a look at the Knights team, let's be honest, I know they're holding a playoff spot, but they're from a weak division, and this is the worst-looking Knights team we've seen. So getting rid of Fleury, not a good idea. Making the playoffs will be a revelation for the Golden Knights. Sorry, Knights fans. Now, if we want to take a look at how lopsided and weird this game was, let's head over to Natural Stat Trick. And what you have here is a breakdown of all the key indicators of where a game should go. So your Corsi, you can see that the Knights absolutely punished the Jets in shooting and in percentage. The Knights should have won this game according to advanced stats, but it's why we play the game. They have a Corsi of 63%. That means they put more shots on net than Winnipeg. They had a Fenwick of 66. It's a fancy way to say Corsi. It just doesn't count in block shots. Who cares? The shot count was 63%. Okay, Ryan, you're always talking about these advanced stats and everything was 63%. I can calculate the shot percentage, dude. We get it. It normally doesn't end up this way. It's just kind of ironic. I thought it was funny. So you can just see from that graph how dominant Vegas was. And the big key you want to take a look at here is the high danger chances and expected goals. And take a look. Vegas was expected to score 2.72 goals. They scored 3. Winnipeg was expected to score 1.77. 1.77 is the mathematical expectation of the performance of the Winnipeg Jets tonight. So that's where I get the thing that, look, it wasn't just the goaltending falling apart, but the Jets knew exactly where to shoot on them, and that's why they end up scoring. So, hey, you exploit it, you take the win any way you can get it. We needed it. Logan, Stanley, look, the fight, the assist, the goal, the Gordie Howe hat trick. Stanley is playing awesome. He's starting to play into himself. I want you guys to all remember it took Zdeno Chara 5 NHL career years to really start molding into the player he was going to be, and he really didn't become the player he was going to be until he moved over to Boston, which was actually after his second deal with so remember, drafted by the Islanders, sent to the and they kept a guy named Wade Redden, who I thought they should have kept at the time because I loved Wade Redden over there. He ended up in the AHL, and Zdeno Chara ended up as the captain of the Boston Bruins in a Hall of Fame career. So don't give up on Logan Stanley too early. It takes a long time for these big guys to come around sometimes. Great game by Stanley. Connor with 3 massive points tonight. This was a very good game for the Jets all around. There were just snipes everywhere you go. We got to talk about the missing Andrew Copp and the trade deadline for the Jets. So Andrew Copp is out with his 5th. That's his 5th concussion. This guy has been conkied more times than Andre Cassie of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he used to play for Boston, and that guy was out with a concussion 24/7. You got to feel terrible for Copp. His career could literally be over at any moment. His life could be over at any moment at this point. That's too many concussions. Getting clipped by the St. Louis Blues mid-ice. It was nasty. It was a nasty collision when it comes to hockey that way. So he's out tonight on a precautionary measure, but as you approach the trade deadline, which is Monday at 3 p.m., you really only have 6 days left. And what should the Jets do? They were talking about it on TSN if you get to follow the local broadcasts. And Craig Button was saying, look, if you want to push, you want to do good things, the Jets look like they're playing better than the Knights, who are in a playoff spot. So sometimes you just got to go ahead and bolster your team and push forward because these guys want to win now. We want them to win now. We want them to get into the playoffs, but it's a really tall order. How tall? Well, we head over to moneypuck.com to see even after the 4-point swing, Dallas losing 2 and Winnipeg going ahead and winning 1. Winnipeg only has an 8.1% chance to make the playoffs. That's not very good odds. Vancouver's been one of the hottest teams down the stretch right now. They have a reasonable chance. I mean, if they get in the playoffs, they're going to make some noise. Dallas has a 63% chance and Vegas has a 54% chance. We got to knock out both of these teams, both, in order to get into a playoff position. Just to frame it for you a little bit better, you can see Vegas is holding on with 61 games played and 68 points. Look, Dallas has 2 games in hand. They have 67 points. You come down to Winnipeg, 64 points in 60 games. You have to assume that Dallas can win those 2 games. So that means Winnipeg is actually 7 points back from playoff spot right now. And even if Winnipeg goes ahead and puts up another 2, you might be going, hey, they're only 2 points away from Vegas and they're in. But it is this Dallas Stars team that is really in the way. That's why they get the 63% playoff picture. Now, what I really like about going to sportsnet.ca is it shows you what's going on in the last 5. So Winnipeg's been the hottest team right now in the last 5 in this group. You can see Dallas is 2-3, Winnipeg is 4-1. But remember, Winnipeg has lost a bajillion games to Dallas in overtime. I mean, they give up 2 points here. Yes, they lost in overtime, but those 2 points going to Dallas absolutely are hard to cover. That is on Friday the 4th. There was an overtime loss on the 11th, and there was an overtime loss on the 23rd. You take those 6 points away from Dallas and you beat them in regulation, and there you go. You're in the playoffs. It's that simple, but the Jets didn't get it done. That's why you got to win in your division. That's why this mountain is so high. So this brings us to the trade deadline, and I don't mean to rain on the parade of all the wonderful Jets fans that are out there going, damn it, man, we just did a very good game. Just say they were awesome and tell us there's hope. That's all we want to hear right now. I'm sorry, I can't. You gotta be realistic. The hope is 8.1%. It's not super high. So you got 5 days going to the trade deadline. You got one of your free agent assets who's concussed. Look, you might not even be able to deal him because of the 5th concussion. You got Paul Stastny waiting in the wings, Nathan Beaulieu, and you got a team that wants to push for the playoffs. There's 22 games left, and if you do the math, you think there's a lot, but this has been a trick that I have been telling you since the the American Thanksgiving weekend at Game 25. Once the playoffs are set, statistically, they're very hard to catch up. And don't forget that a month and a half ago when we were talking about, oh my God, they're going to miss the playoffs, they were only 2 to 2.5 games back. They're now 3.5 games back with less games.
Wave after wave of my own men at them.
They haven't closed any gaps here, folks. This was a big win if they want to make a push to the playoffs, but we are likely going to end up in a spot where we get nothing back for our free agents. We get nothing at the trade deadline because we won't end up adding because it's too risky. So we don't sell, we don't add, and we're likely going to finish at position 9 or 10 in the standings, which is the worst draft pick. But you know what? Let's just go game by game and cheer as they go on because that's all we can do. But I'm telling you right now, I think these are chicken moves being done by the GM. I've thought it since the beginning. He hasn't gone in. He hasn't gone out. He added guys at the beginning of the summer. It didn't work out. Put an interim tag coach on Lowry. He didn't go hunting for a different coach. Boudreau's been eating his lunch. Basically, every coach that has been assigned as a full-time head coach to NHL teams, and Martin St. Louis, who's an interim coach, have been crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. Not Dave Lowry. So it is what it is, team. It's where we're at. The Winnipeg Jets are going to have to pull a little bit of a miracle out of their hat in order to get in. I believe they can be dangerous once they get into the playoffs, but they're going to have to start making some decisions here. But I think we can be pretty confident that Kevin Scheifele, he's just going to stand pat. So that's what's going to go on the trade deadline. Likely nothing. The Winnipeg Jets, likely to miss the playoffs, but we're going to cheer for them the entire way there. And let's hope Andrew Copp returns healthy and happy. But at the end of the day, he may not even be a Jet at the end of this season. All right, Jets fans, thanks for checking it out. Why don't you check out some of these other videos while you're here?